The sun woke me up. Its warm rays gently caressed my fur, making me feel cozy and content. I stretched my paws, feeling the soft fabric beneath me. The sunlight was a gentle reminder that a new day had begun, full of possibilities and adventures. It was shining on my face, making my whiskers twitch. The warmth was comforting, almost like a gentle hug from the sun itself. I blinked a few times, adjusting to the brightness, and took a deep breath, savoring the fresh morning air. That's not right. I usually sleep in my cat tree. I opened my eyes, confused. My cat tree was my sanctuary, my safe haven. Why wasn't I there? I looked around, trying to make sense of my surroundings. I was in my human's arms. She held me gently, her warmth and scent familiar and comforting. I nuzzled against her, feeling safe and loved. But why was I here? What was she planning? She was carrying me to the kitchen. The familiar sounds and smells of the kitchen began to fill my senses. The clinking of dishes, the hum of the refrigerator, and the faint aroma of food. It was a place of activity and excitement. That's weird. The house smelled different today. What was going on? I sniffed the air, trying to identify the new scents. There was something unfamiliar, something intriguing. My curiosity was piqued. I jumped out of her arms when we got to the kitchen. I looked around. Something was happening. The humans were busy. The kitchen was a hive of activity, with everyone moving around, focused on their tasks. They were moving around and making noise. The clatter of pots and pans, the sizzle of something cooking, and the chatter of voices filled the air. It was a symphony of sounds, each one adding to the excitement of the moment. One human was at the table. She was cutting things. The rhythmic chop of the knife was almost hypnotic. I watched her hands move with precision, slicing through vegetables with ease. Another human was at the stove. The aroma of something delicious wafted through the air, making my mouth water. What were they cooking? I had to find out. He was stirring something in a big pot. I wanted to investigate. The bubbling sound was enticing, and the steam rising from the pot carried a tantalizing scent. My curiosity got the better of me. I jumped on the counter. From this vantage point, I could see everything. The colorful array of ingredients, the organized chaos of the kitchen, and the focused expressions on the humans' faces. "No!" the human at the table yelled. Her voice startled me, breaking my concentration. I looked at her, confused. What had I done wrong? She picked me up and put me on the floor. Her touch was gentle, but firm. I could sense her frustration, but I didn't understand why. I just wanted to be part of the action. "No cats on the counter," she said. I didn't understand. Why couldn't I be up there? It was the perfect spot to observe everything. I felt a pang of disappointment. I just wanted to see what was happening. It didn't matter. I would find another way to explore. My curiosity was insatiable, and I wasn't going to let a little setback stop me. I would find another way to explore. The kitchen was full of nooks and crannies, each one holding the promise of discovery. I padded around, my senses on high alert. I rubbed against her legs, purring loudly. Maybe she would forget I tried to jump on the counter. My purr was my secret weapon, a way to win her over. Maybe she would forget I tried to jump on the counter. I looked up at her with my most innocent expression, hoping to melt her heart. I was a very cute cat after all. My big eyes and soft fur were hard to resist. I knew how to use my charm to get what I wanted. Today was just another adventure in my life, full of new smells, sights, and sounds, and I was ready to explore it all. The humans were really busy. They were bustling around the kitchen, each one with a specific task. Some were chopping vegetables, others were stirring pots, and a few were setting the table. The air was filled with the delicious aroma of food being prepared, and the clattering of pots and pans created a symphony of sounds. They were running around like their tails were on fire. It was a whirlwind of activity, and I could barely keep up with all the movement. The humans seemed to be in a hurry, as if they were racing against time to get everything ready. I decided to stay out of their way. With so many feet moving around, it was safer to observe from a distance. I found a quiet corner where I could watch the chaos unfold without getting trampled. I curled up on the back of the couch. It was my favorite spot, high enough to see everything but comfortable enough to relax. From there, I had the perfect vantage point to observe the humans and their strange rituals. From there, I could see everything. The kitchen was a hive of activity, with everyone moving in a coordinated dance. It was fascinating to watch how they worked together, each person contributing to the feast in their own way. The humans were talking a lot. Their voices filled the room, a mix of instructions, questions, and laughter. It was clear that this was a special occasion, and everyone was excited to be a part of it. They were laughing and shouting, they seemed excited, The energy in the room was contagious, and even though I didn't understand everything they were saying, I could feel their joy. I didn't understand what all the fuss was about. To me it was just another day, but to the humans it was something special. Their excitement was palpable, and it made me curious about what was to come. But I liked it when they were happy. Their laughter and smiles made the house feel warm and inviting. It was a nice change from the usual quiet and calm. I watched as they brought out all sorts of food. The table was quickly filling up with dishes of all shapes and sizes. Each one looked more delicious than the last, and the smells were making my mouth water. There were bowls of mashed potatoes, stuffing, and cranberry sauce. Each dish was carefully placed on the table, and the humans took a moment to admire their handiwork before moving on to the next task. There were plates of rolls and pies. The desserts looked especially tempting with their golden crusts and sweet fillings. I could see the humans sneaking tastes as they worked, unable to resist the delicious treats. And then, the biggest surprise of all, a massive turkey, golden brown and steaming hot, was brought to the table. The humans gathered around, their eyes wide with anticipation. It was clear that this was the centerpiece of the feast, and they were all eager to dig in. As I watched them, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement too. This was more than just a meal, it was a celebration of togetherness and joy. And even though I was just a cat, I felt like I was a part of it all. A giant bird appeared. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before. The humans seemed very excited about it. It was cooked and golden brown. The aroma wafted through the air, making my whiskers twitch with curiosity. The humans called it a turkey. They were pointing at it and talking animatedly, their faces lit up with joy and anticipation. I had never seen anything like it. It smelled delicious, a mix of savory spices and rich roasted meat. My nose couldn't get enough of that enticing scent. The humans gathered around the table, their eyes gleaming with excitement. It was a special occasion, and everyone seemed to be in high spirits. They put the turkey in the middle, treating it like the centerpiece of a grand feast. It was clear that this bird was the star of the show. Then they all held hands and closed their eyes. What were they doing? It was a strange ritual, one I had never witnessed before. Were they worshipping the giant bird? I couldn't help but feel a bit puzzled. The humans were acting so differently than usual. They were making a lot of noise. Their voices rose in unison, filling the room with a cacophony of sound. They were talking really loud, but not to each other. They called it praying. It was a curious thing, this loud talking to no one in particular. I didn't understand it, but I decided to join in. If the humans were making noise, why shouldn't I? So I meowed as loud as I could. The humans laughed. They seemed to find my participation amusing, their laughter ringing out like a chorus of bells. I guess they liked my singing voice. I felt a sense of pride, my chest puffing out as I basked in their attention. It was a strange day, but a good one. As the humans continued their feast, I couldn't take my eyes off the turkey. It was still the most fascinating thing in the room. The humans shared the food, passing dishes around and chatting happily. It was a scene of warmth and togetherness. I watched them closely, my eyes following every movement. The way they interacted with each other was so different from my world. I hoped they would share some of that delicious turkey with me. My mouth watered at the thought of tasting it. Finally, one of the humans gave me a small piece. I eagerly devoured it, savoring the rich, savory flavor. It was as delicious as it smelled. I purred happily, feeling content and satisfied. The humans' loud day had turned out to be quite enjoyable for me too. In the end, it was a day of harmony and joy. The humans and I had shared a special moment, one that I would remember for a long time. As the day came to a close, I curled up in my favorite spot, feeling peaceful and happy. The humans were loud today, but it was a good kind of loud. The humans began to clean up, putting away the dishes and tidying the table. The excitement of the day was winding down. I watched them with half-closed eyes, feeling drowsy. It had been a long, eventful day, and I was ready for a nap. As I drifted off to sleep, I thought about the giant bird and the humans' strange rituals. It was a day unlike any other, and I was glad to have been a part of it. The humans finally sat down to eat. I watched them carve the turkey. The smell was making my mouth water. I had never smelled anything so good in my whole life. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to get closer. I slowly walked towards the table, my eyes fixed on the turkey. "No, Whiskers," one of the younger humans said. He knew what I was thinking. I was going for the turkey. He was too slow. I jumped onto a chair and then onto the table. "Whiskers, get down from there!" another human shouted. They all started making a fuss. I didn't understand. Wasn't this giant bird for everyone? One of the humans, a tall man with a funny hat, tried to grab me. I dodged him and ran towards the turkey. I took a swipe at it with my paw. A piece of turkey fell to the floor. Score! The humans were not happy. They chased me around the table, trying to get me down. It was like a fun game. Section 6. A little bit of turkey. Finally, they caught me. The human with the funny hat put me on the floor. I was disappointed that I didn't get to eat more of the turkey. But then, something amazing happened. The young human who had tried to warn me earlier came over to me. He had a plate in his hand. On the plate was a small piece of turkey. He knelt down and offered it to me. "Here, Whiskers," he whispered. "Don't tell Dad." I purred and happily gobbled it up. It was the most delicious thing I had ever tasted. Section 7, nap time. I deserve it. After all the excitement, I was tired. I found a cozy spot under the table and fell asleep. The sounds of the humans laughing and talking lulled me into a deep sleep. I dreamed of giant birds and endless bowls of creamy mashed potatoes. It was the best dream ever. When I woke up, the humans were cleaning up. They were still talking and laughing. I stretched and yawned. Section 8. The best day ever. What a day it had been. So much excitement, so much food, and so much love. This Thanksgiving thing wasn't so bad after all. I rubbed against the humans' legs, purring loudly. They smiled down at me. I think they were happy to have me around, even if I did cause a little bit of trouble. I learned something important today. Thanksgiving wasn't just about the giant bird. It was about spending time with the ones you love. Section 9, happy together. And I loved my humans. They were my family. I couldn't imagine my life without them. As I drifted off to sleep that night, curled up on the couch next to my human, I felt content. I was home, and I was loved, and that was all that mattered.